Thank you, Jason. Pardon my delay, but I'm trying to use my iPad and I let it turn off, so I had to turn it all back on. So, love the music today. The first song he sang today, 202, that's one of my all-time favorites, so I think he probably knew, so I got to hear it, thankfully. So I'm going to continue with a message here about angels. Last time in my first presentation, I just want to review a couple things from it. We learned first that the word angels in both Hebrew and Greek means messenger. So when God sends, he sends a messenger. And we call it an angel, but sometimes if you insert the word messenger, it makes a little more sense in the context if you're reading it. We also learned that, remember, an angel appeared to Samson's mother before she was born, and she said he had the countenance of an angel of God. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't think it means a halo around his head, but something about him, she knew he's a messenger from God. And she also said, though, he's very awesome. So awesome that's pretty good. We also learned from the book of Hebrews that the author of Hebrews said in chapter 1 and verse 14, he's talking about angels, and he says, "Are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister to those who will inherit salvation?" And that's Christians. Christians are to inherit salvations. So angels are likely in the background here. They're always around to really help us. We learned that angels, a lot of times in the Bible, when an angel appeared, he had a sword in his hand. And that's a little scary, I'm sure, when people saw that. So we also learned the last time that there are only two named angels in the whole Bible. Many, many, many angels are talked about in many verses, but only two of them are called by name. In Psalm 34 and verse 7, the psalmist here writes, "The angel of the Lord encamps around all those who fear him and delivers them." And that's a comforting thing for us. And then thinking about the number of angels in Hebrews 12 and in verse 22, it says that the writer here says, "You've come to Mount Zion, to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, to an innumerable company of angels." So angels, there's just so many of them that the author said you can't number them. Now, I'm sure God can. He numbers the stars. But mankind, we have a struggle with that. We also learned that in 1 Kings 19, when Elijah was running from Jezebel, he fled from far northern Israel all the way down to the southern part of Israel, and he was faint and he was depressed, and he laid down under a bush and sort of hoped he would die, I think. Well, an angel woke him up, and he woke up and he looked over, and here's a fire going, and there's a cake sitting there. And the angel says to him, "Eat." So he eats of the cake and he drinks of the water the angel provided. He falls asleep. The next day, the angel's there again. He says, eat, because you've got a long distance. He's going to go all the way down to Mount Sinai, which is, down past south of Egypt. And so he says, eat. And it says then in verse 8, Elijah ate 2 meals of angel cake, and he went 40 days and 40 nights on that food. And I said, I want some angel food cake. I mean, if he could go 40 days and 40 nights on 2 meals of angel food cake, I want some of that stuff. Anyway, so I gave a quiz last time, and I had so much fun with it, I'm going to do it again. So, closed phones, closed Bible, no Google, no Siri, no Alexa, no help, just, what's up here, okay? So question number 1, in Luke 1, verses 11 through 20, is where an angel appeared to the priest Zacharias in the temple, appeared to him. And so I'm asking, the angel was named what? A, Michael, B, Gabriel, C, the angel was not named, or D, none of the above. So which is it? The angel that appeared to Zacharias in the temple, what was his name? He either was named Gabriel, he was named Michael, or he wasn't named. Or none of those answers, something else. All right. Question number 2. In the same account in Luke chapter 1, the angel told Zacharias that his wife would have a son, and that son would go before the Messiah in the spirit and the power of Elijah. My question is, did Zacharias believe the angel? So the answer is just yes or no. Did Zacharias believe what the angel told him? Yes or no? Then an angel also appeared to Mary 6 months later, after the angel appeared to Zacharias, appeared to Mary. And the angel told Mary to name the baby, A, Emmanuel, name him B, Jesus, C, Christ, or D, all of the above. The angel told Mary to name him all of the above. So it's either A, Emmanuel, B, Jesus, C, Christ, or D, all of the above. Then question number 5. In Matthew chapter 1, after Mary was found to be pregnant, Joseph, her husband, pondered about what to do. She's pregnant, she's gotten pregnant, and it's not me. And he was pondering about putting her away privately. But an angel told him something. Did the angel appear to him, A, in person, B, in a vision, C, in a dream, or did he just hear a voice? He didn't see an angel, didn't hear one, he just heard a voice. How did the angel communicate with Joseph? In person, in a vision, in a dream, or he just heard a voice? How did that happen? In Luke chapter 2, at the birth, in question number 6, in Luke 2, at the birth of Jesus, an angel appeared to the shepherds nearby in the fields to announce Jesus' birth. What was that angel's name? Was it Gabriel, Michael? Unknown? None of the above? What was it? What was that angel's name that appeared to those shepherds? What does the Bible tell us in Luke chapter 2? Question 7. In Matthew 2, after the wise men came and worshiped the baby Jesus and gave gifts, they were divinely warned in a dream not to return to Herod. Is that true or is that false? Were they warned in a dream to not return to Herod? True or false? Number 8. In Matthew chapter 2, after Jesus is born, an angel appears to his human father, his stepfather Joseph, 3 more times. Is that true or false? An angel appears to him 3 more times after Jesus is born. Is that true or false? Question 9. In Luke 20, verses 34 to 37, Jesus was talking to scribes and Pharisees. They came to him and said, well, there's this woman, she's been married 7 times. In the resurrection, whose husband is she? Who's her husband? Well, they didn't believe in the resurrection, those that came to him. So he's expounded them some things about the resurrection. So what did he say about human beings in this passage? A, that humans cannot die anymore after the resurrection. A, they do not marry after resurrected. The B, rather. C, they are equal to the angels. Or D, all of the above. What did Jesus say about humans after they're resurrected? They cannot die, they do not marry, they are equal to angels, or all of the above. Question 10. Does the Bible anywhere indicate that angels may have their own languages? That they speak in their own angel language? Does the Bible indicate that anywhere? Yes or no question. Yes or no? You got a 50% chance of getting it right off the bat. Question 11. Jesus, the very Son of God, the one who was used in creation of all the universe, in becoming a human was made lower than the angels. Is that true or false? Is that true or false? Did he ever become lower than the angels? Number 12. In Acts chapter 5, the apostles were arrested by the scribes and Pharisees, and the people of the temple arrested the apostles, a whole bunch of them. Then what happened? A, they were put in prison. B, an angel released them. C, they went from prison to the temple to teach the people. Or D, all of the above. Question 13. In Acts chapter 8, an angel sent a particular person to explain Isaiah chapter 53 to the Ethiopian eunuch. Who was that person that the angel sent? Was it Stephen? A, Stephen. B, Silas. C, Philip. Or D, Barnabas? Who was it? An angel actually got a hold of this person and sent him to the Ethiopian eunuch. Okay, question 14. After Jesus' resurrection, and he spent some 40 days on the earth with his disciples, appearing to them off and on. He led them out to the Mount of Olives, gave them a few last words, and he ascended up into the clouds. When Jesus ascended into the clouds, question 14, when he ascended into the clouds from Mount of Olives, angels appeared to the disciples then, after he ascended. Did angels appear to them? True or false? Question 15. Angels appear to mankind, A, in the likeness of men. B, they appear as men clothed in white garments. C, they appear as men in dazzling array. D, all of the above. Question 16. In Judges chapter 6, an angel appeared to Gideon. Now, Gideon was a young man. He might even been a teenager. He's a young guy. He's threshing wheat inside of the winepress building. Why? He's hiding himself from the Midians because they steal wheat. They steal the grain. The whole country is full of Midianites oppressing the people. So an angel appears to Gideon to lead Israel to defeat these Midianites. What did the angel say to Gideon when he appeared to him? A, gather 20,000 men out of Israel to defeat Midian. Did he say that to him? B, pray for help. C, the Lord is with you, O mighty man of valor. D, all of the above. Did he say all of the above to him? Question 17. In 2 Samuel 24, what did the angel do to kill sinning Israelites? In 2 Samuel 24, what had happened, David had commissioned Joab to go out and number all of Israel. But Israel had been sinning a lot, and God was upset with Israel, and he certainly didn't want David numbering them. So he asked David, what do you want as your punishment? You want to fall into the hands of the Gentiles? Do you want drought for 3 years? Or how about a plague of sickness? Well, he thought, well, a plague of sickness, that's directly from God, and God is merciful, so he chose that. God is a God of mercy. I don't want to fall in my hands of my enemies. They're not merciful. So anyway, it says, what did the angel do to kill the sinning Israelites? A, he struck them with fire from heaven. B, he sent a pestilence. C, he brought the Philistines against them. D, none of the above. Let's see. In ancient Israel, they had all kinds of kings, and all the kings of ancient Israel after Solomon were evil. You know, the kingdom split in two parts. We had kings over Judah down below in the south, and we had kings over Israel. All of them up in Israel followed Baal or other pagan worship. Well, one of those evil kings was Azariah. Azariah, after he'd been king for a little while, he fell from some upper thing through a lattice, injured himself, and probably got a bad infection, so he was very sick. So he sent messengers to Beelzebub to see if he would recover. So evil King Azariah sent messengers to inquire of Beelzebub. An angel of the Lord came to Elijah and told him to stop those messengers. Is that true or is that false? Did an angel of the Lord do that? Come to Elijah? True or false? Question 20. In Revelation chapter 14 and verse 6, an angel, one of the many, remember there's 75 occurrences in the book of Revelation of angels. This angel in chapter 14, verse 6, an angel has a message for every nation, every tribe, and tongue, and people. In other words, a message for the whole earth. What was his message? A, judgment is coming. B, God is angry. C, the eternal gospel. D, none of these above choices. None of them. Okay, let's go through the questions. Question 1. What was the angel's name that appeared to Zacharias the priest? It was letter B was the answer, Gabriel. Gabriel appeared to Zacharias. Question 2. Did Zacharias believe the angel? Answer, no. Well, let's check on this. Luke chapter 1, 11 to 20 says, Then an angel of the Lord appeared to him, this is Zacharias, standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And when Zacharias saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell on him. But the angel said to him, Don't be afraid, Zacharias, your prayer's heard. Your wife will bear you a son. You shall call his name John. And you will have joy and gladness, and many will rejoice at his birth. For he will be great in the sight of the Lord. He'll drink neither wine nor strong drink, and he'll be filled with the Holy Spirit from his mother's womb. And he'll turn many of the children of Israel to the Lord their God. And he will go before him, capitalize him, go before the Christ, in the spirit and power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children. And so down in verse 18, Zacharias said to the angel, How shall I know this? I'm old. I'm an old man. My wife is well advanced. The angel answered and said, I am Gabriel. So he tells him his name. So that's the answer to question 1. I am Gabriel, who stands in the presence of God and was sent to speak to you and bring you these glad tidings. But behold, you'll be mute and not able to speak till the day these things take place, because you did not believe my words. He didn't believe them. That's what it tells us. So, he didn't believe. Question 3. How did the angel appear to Mary? The answer is C for question 3, in person. He actually appeared to her. She saw him. She spoke with him in person. Question 4. What was Mary to name the baby? The answer is B, Jesus. Now, we see the other titles and things. Those are true, but Mary wasn't told that. She was told, name him Jesus. We can see that in Luke chapter 1, verse 26 to 38. It says, in the 6th month, that's the 6 months of Zacharias' wife's pregnancy, the angel Gabriel was sent by God to a city of Galilee named Nazareth to a virgin betrothed to a man whose name was Joseph, and the virgin's name was Mary. And having come in, the angel said to her, Rejoice, highly favored one, the Lord is with you, you're blessed among women. He spoke to her directly. It wasn't a vision, it wasn't a dream. He came in. He talked to her. In verse 31, And behold, you shall conceive in your womb and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Jesus. So that's the answer to question 4. Question 5. Well, later, an angel contacted Joseph. How did the angel contact Joseph? The answer for question 5 is C, in a dream. In a dream. So he did not come to Joseph directly awake, but only in a dream. And that we find in Matthew chapter 1 and verse 20. It says, "But while he thought about these things, Joseph, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, 'Joseph, son of David, don't be afraid to take to you Mary, your wife, for what is conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit.'" So it's interesting how God does things. To some, an angel appears, boom, in person. Others, for his own reasons, it's in a dream. Or maybe they just hear a voice. But in this case, it's in a dream. Question number 6. What was the angel's name that announced Jesus' birth to the shepherds? The answer is C, an unknown name. No name is given for this angel. No name is given. In Luke 2 and verse 9, it says, "And behold, an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were greatly afraid." Now, here's a glorious one. He's awesome, like Samson's mother said. And it's night, and he's apparently glowing, and they're afraid. So he tells them all about it. You know, on this day, there's a baby born over in the city of Bethlehem. You'll find him. He's a baby. He's in a manger. He's wrapped in swaddling cloths and all that. And then as soon as he tells them all that stuff, a whole host of angels appear. Jason would love this. A whole host that maybe he could lead. The voices of maybe thousands. I don't know how many angels. This is a host of angels singing. Tremendous. I mean, such a wondrous thing. The shepherds were just in awe. So as soon as it all went away, of course, they went and checked it all out. But anyway, answer to 6 was unknown name. 7. We know that the wise men came after Jesus' birth, sometime after, and they appeared. And before they came to the house where Jesus, the baby, was, they stopped in Jerusalem and they asked, "Where's the King of the Jews born?" And Herod, apparently they asked it of Herod or his aides. And he says, he probably pulled his hair out. "How would I know?" So he sends off to the Pharisees, whatever. "Where is the Messiah supposed to be born?" And so they quote out of the Old Testament in Bethlehem of Judah. So the wise men go there. They present their gifts, gold, frankincense, myrrh, and all that. And after they're done, they're warned. They apparently spent the night because while they were sleeping in a dream, they were warned not to return to Herod. They were warned in a dream. So once again, I mean, these folks were from like Babylon area. They likely, maybe were not even God worshipers, but they knew something great was happening, probably from the writings of Daniel from hundreds of years before. But they knew, and they came, but they're warned in a dream, don't go back to Herod. Take off some other way. Get out of here. Immediately after that, in Matthew chapter 2, Joseph receives another dream in the middle of the night because it's in a dream. And the angel appears to him in the dream. The angel says, "Get up, grab the child and his mother, and go to Egypt." He didn't wait till morning. That dream scared him awake. He got up. They said, "Herod is going to try to kill this child." He got up. They took off in the middle of the night. Perhaps early that next morning, Herod's soldiers were out there killing babies, killing young children. Well, the question, though, 8 was, after Jesus' birth, Joseph is warned 3 more times. Well, in Matthew 2 and verse 13, it says, now when they had departed, that means the wise men had departed, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise, take the young child, flee to Egypt, stay there until I bring you word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. Down in verse 19, now when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt. Second time after the birth, he appears. In verse 20, he says, arise, take the young child and his mother and go to the land of Israel, for those who sought the young child's life are dead. Then he arose, took the young child and his mother, and came to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was reigning over Judea instead of his father Herod, he was afraid, and being warned by God in a dream, he turned aside into the region of Galilee. So 3 times after the birth, he's warned in a dream. Question 9. Jesus had this to say about humans in the resurrection in Luke 20, verses 34 to 37. The answer is D, all of the above, where we read, Jesus answered and said to them, the sons of this age marry and are given in marriage, but those who are accounted worthy to attain that age and the resurrection from the dead neither marry nor are given in marriage, nor can they die anymore, for they're equal to the angels. That's what he says. And are sons of God, being sons of the resurrection. So all of those A, B, and C answers are correct. So D is the correct answer, all of the above. Question 10. Does the Bible anywhere indicate that angels may have their own languages? The answer to that is yes, and we find it in the love chapter in 1 Corinthians 13, verses 1 and 2. Paul is saying here, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and tongues means languages. If I speak a language, and angels can speak any language. When they appear to people, nobody misunderstands them, right? They appear and talk to somebody, they talk to them in their language. This guy in his language. Whoever they appear to, they know the languages. And apparently, if Paul is correct here in 1 Corinthians 13, and the scripture doesn't err, they have languages. Question 11. Jesus was made lower than the angels. The answer to that is true. And we find the basic reason is in Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 9, where it says, but we see Jesus, who was made a little lower than the angels, for the suffering of death. If he wasn't lower than the angels, he couldn't die. We just covered that in that question before. Jesus told the Pharisees, angels don't die. They can't die. Jesus needed to die. He had to be our Passover lamb to die for us. So he was made a little lower than the angels for the suffering of death, but now he's crowned with glory and honor that he, by the grace of God, might taste death for everyone. Question 12. In Acts chapter 5, the apostles were arrested, and then what happened? The answer to that is D, all of the above. In Acts 5:17 to 22, we find the high priest rose up, and all those who were with him, which is of the sect of the Sadducees, and they were filled with indignation. In verse 18, And they laid their hands on the apostles and put them in the common prison. Verse 19, but at night an angel of the Lord opened the prison doors and brought them out. And verse 20, said to them, go, stand in the temple and speak to the people all the words of this life. So they went right back to where they were arrested. First thing in the morning, they went there. And so when the apostles heard that from the angel, they entered the temple early in the morning and they taught. And so what happened? I mean, later in that morning, as the hours got later, the Sadducees sent to the prison, bring them out. Nobody there but the guards. And so they were puzzling, and finally somebody came running from the temple and said, you know those guys you locked up? They're in the temple preaching and teaching. So, you know, if God wants to send a messenger to do something, he does it. He's showing them, you can arrest them, but if I want them to teach here, they're going to do it. You're not going to stop it. You're not going to stop it. Question 13. In Acts chapter 8, an angel sent a specific person to teach Isaiah 53 to the Ethiopian eunuch. The answer is Philip. Philip was sent by the angel. In Acts 8, verse 26, it says, now an angel of the Lord said to Philip, go over and join this chariot. So Philip ran to him and heard him reading Isaiah the prophet and said, do you understand what you are reading? So, lost my place. Oops. Okay, so that was Philip. Question 14. When Jesus ascended into the clouds from the Mount of Olives, angels appeared to the disciples as he ascended. That answer is true, because when Jesus went up, they were gazing up into heaven, and it says then in Acts chapter 1, verse 10, and while they were gazing into heaven as he went, behold, two men stood by them in white robes. It just says men, but they obviously were angels, as they told them, you're going to see him come back just like he went. He's coming in the clouds. He's coming here to the Mount of Olives. Expect that. So they gave him a little encouragement. I mean, here's Jesus is gone, and they're a little, They haven't yet received the power of the Spirit. They're probably feeling a little bit uneasy. Jesus just left. So the angels comfort them and tell them, he's coming back. Go on in and stay at Jerusalem, just like he told you. Okay, so question 15. Angels appear to mankind as A, in the likeness of men, B, men clothed in white garments, C, men in dazzling array. The answer is D, all of the above. In Acts chapter 1, verse 10, we read, two men in white robes. In John 20 and verse 12, here's Mary at the tomb. Jesus is gone. It says in John 20 and verse 12, it says, and she, that's Mary, saw two angels in white sitting where the body of Jesus had lain, one at the head and one at the feet. Then in Luke 24, verses 3 and 4, this was another occasion when more women were there. They had first gone there, a group of women that were going to anoint the body, remember? They went, they found the stone rolled away. In Luke 24 and verse 3, it says, but when they went into the tomb, they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. And while they were perplexed about this, behold, 2 men stood by them in dazzling apparel. Dazzling apparel. So all 3 of those answers are correct. But another corroborating scripture is in Hebrews 13 and verse 2, where it says, "Do not forget to entertain strangers, for by doing so, some have unwittingly entertained angels." So why would it be unwittingly if they didn't appear like men? In this case, not awesome probably, just average, everyday men. And maybe a little below average, because it's saying, don't be negligent to, entertain these folks. Because you might entertain angels unwittingly. Question 16. In Judges 6, what did the angel say to Gideon? The answer is, "See, the Lord is with you, O mighty man of valor." So we find that, and we know he wasn't a mighty man of valor because he was just probably a teenager, older teen. And he told the angel, "I'm the least in my tribe, and my tribe is a small tribe, and how are we going to save Israel? How can he do this?" He's the one that asked for the fleece to be wet with the dew one day and dry the next, and the ground be wet, whatever. He's the one that went through all kinds of questioning over and over and over again to get up the nerve to do what he was told to do. Now, one of the questions was, you asked for 20,000 to come down from Israel. Well, he asked for people to come down, but the angel didn't tell him to do that. It doesn't say that. And actually, 32,000 men of Israel came to him. But what did the angel tell him about that? God told him, at least probably through the angel, too many. That's too many guys here. If you use all these people to defeat the army of Midian, they're going to think they did it. So tell them, anybody that's afraid of this battle, go home. 22,000 of them went home. That would be like me. I would have been a little afraid, I'm sure. I said, "Hey, I'm afraid to go out there. This is, I don't know." 22,000, so there's 10,000 left. And the angel tells Gideon again, or the Lord tells him through the angel, or somehow speaks to him and says, "Still too many. Go down to the creek and watch how they drink water out of the creek. If they do it one way, stick their mouth down there in the water, send those people home. If they lap like a dog out of their hand, keep them." How many did he keep? Anybody remember? 300. So all of them go home except for 300. And Gideon is supposed to defeat this multitudinous army of the Midians with 300. So what did they do? He told them, well, he still was afraid, so he said, "Well, Gideon, you and your servant go down at night and listen in on the conversations coming out." And they hear this conversation from a guy saying, "I dreamed that there was a loaf of bread rolling down the hill and it knocked down all the tents," or something like that. That's not exactly how it was, because I don't remember the exact. But anyway, so Gideon realized in his mind, hey, that means we're going to defeat these people. So he went back, he divided the 300 men into 3 groups, and he gave each and every one of them a torch, and then a pitcher to put over the torch to hide the light. And in their other hands, he gave them trumpets, 300 trumpets. And he said, scatter out around these folks. I mean, they're all camped down here in the valley, all the way around them. And when I tell you, break your pitchers, they broke the pitchers. There's light all around on the hill around, and they blow the trumpets, screaming probably shofars. So The Midianites became so afraid they got up to run, and the guy next to them in the dark, they weren't sure who it was, and they stabbed their own people. Anyway, they fled and were greatly defeated. But Gideon was not a great mighty man of valor. But when the angel tells him that, that's what God expects him to become. You know, he expects us to become more than we are in this flesh. He tells us we are going to judge angels in the future, become higher than the angels. God expects that out of us, and we need to fulfill his expectation. Gideon, even though he was fearful, it took him a lot of things to go through to actually do what he needed to do. But he finally did it. So how in 2 Samuel 24, when the angel was supposed to kill the sinning Israelites, I actually, in telling the story earlier, I gave you the answer as I was telling the story, but it actually was B, he sent a pestilence, because David chose pestilence, I told you. So that was the answer to that. And it says that he went out, and I think the angel killed like 70,000 people in all the nation of Israel. And he was there at Jerusalem, and there's David at Jerusalem, and he sees the angel of the Lord, and the angel of the Lord puts out his hand and he points at Jerusalem. And David says, "Oh God, save them. Put this on me. I'm the one that did this sin." And God stopped it. So the angel was stopped from any more pestilence. So David was right. God's mercy is great. He stopped it. His mercy intervened. So we can ask for that mercy. We can ask for it. Question 18. Evil King Azariah of Israel sent messengers to inquire of Beelzebub. Did the angel of the Lord tell Elijah to stop it? True, that's true. An angel actually spoke to Elijah. And we find that in 2 Kings 1 and verse 3. He says, "Is it because there's no God in Israel that you're going to inquire of Beelzebub?" That's what Elijah said to the messengers. And they went back to Azariah and told him that. And he said, "What'd that man look like?" "Oh, he's a hairy man." He described this rough-looking guy. "Ooh, that's Elijah the Tishbite." So Azariah died because he didn't trust in God. He trusted in Beelzebub. Question 19. In Revelation chapter 1, God sent an angel to give John the revelation of Jesus Christ. That answer is true. In Revelation 1:1, we see that. He made it known by sending his angel to his servant John. Question 20. In Revelation chapter 14, verse 6, an angel has a message for every nation and tribe and tongue and people. What is that message? The answer is C, the eternal gospel. Here's how it reads in Revelation 14:6. "Then I saw another angel flying directly overhead with an eternal gospel to proclaim to those who dwell on earth, to every nation and tribe and language and people." You know what's happening in Revelation? The beast power is shutting down Christianity, probably burning Bibles, destroying anything they can find a reference to God. God can't be stopped. He sends this angel out to proclaim the gospel everywhere, every nation, every language, every people. He proclaims it. It can't be stopped. Satan can imprison Christians. He can do a lot of stuff, but he can't stop the gospel from going out. There are people today in lands where Christianity is banned. Maybe only Islam is permitted. But there are Christians there proclaiming the gospel, and many of them are arrested, go to jail. But they believe. We need to have that strength. I don't know, maybe we'll see that in this country in a few years. The gospel banned. Christianity banned as a religion that proclaims hate speech. That's what they will probably say. Be strong. Be faithful. Trust God. God is in control. He wins. So we win. Jason.